Hi, and welcome to this week's show. I'm really excited about working with Zoe today. I've known Zoe for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years. I know her father. I have a lot of respect for them. Zoe is a really talented artist, and she has set up a property down the bottom end of WA. We'll get into that in a second. And I'm going to be really working with her today to identify second or third streams of income from her property. When Zoe first applied for the show, I was sort of like, this is sort of outside of my area of expertise. And I thought, no, I'll give it a go. I'll see how I can use my own strategic mind. And that's why I'm a bit challenged, which makes it fun and exciting. And I like Zoe, so see you on the inside. Hey, Zoe.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. And how is the weather in WA today?
A little bit cloudy, a bit of sunshine, but mostly fine.
Warming up down there?
Yeah, but we're heading for a cold snap for the next couple of days and then warming up again. Yeah. But it's beautiful. All the wildflowers are out, so it's very pretty at the moment.
Pretty at the moment.
Yeah.
And we know that's important to you as an artist. In fact, we're going to start there, right?
Yeah.
Zoe, how long have you been doing art for?
I guess I've always done it. Sort of come in and out of it and very much been in love with it and then hated it and go back into it.
When you hate it, why do you hate it?
I think just frustration and not being able to express my ideas properly, or not feeling good enough. And I think now I'm just sort of at a really nice place with it where I'm just very content with making and a bit more detached from the outcome, which is a really lovely space to be in.
I said to my youngest son last week, he's actually, it's a bit of a problem for him. He's very gifted artistically and creatively, and he's got an academic mind like mine, and he's a really good sports person. And unlike, a lot of kids that may be good at one thing or two things, he does art for a while, and then he's doing his academic studies for a while, and then he's back doing his sports for a while. And so he's got these three things. He sort of, it's really hard for him to get focused into one thing because of this multitude of talent and interest.
I really relate to that with that academic and artistic side of like oscillating between the two.
Yeah. And I said to him, he'd done some work. He'd created a video clip actually, and he said, I just don't like it. And it was amazing. I said to him, no artist likes what they've done.
No.
It's like me. So even for me, I'll produce a video and everyone's going, well, that's got great content, but I'll pick the holes out of it. And I suppose that's one of the ways that we improve. But if it gets too bad, that's the inner critic subpersonality, of course, it undermines our ability to create properly.
Yes.
So, in some ways you're an accomplished artist though, even though you still give yourself a hard time and get out of it, or you said you're in a good place with it now, but you're an accomplished artist, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny, I don't see myself in that way. I think I've always worked within the arts sort of since I started, I guess, my career. And I think I'm very good at facilitating other artists and getting the best out of their work. And I think the next sort of chapter for me is being able to do that for myself.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a bit of fun with that because your present business sort of puts you right into that domain where your business itself is the business of beauty, which we'll get to. But one more question before we get into that. So I know, was it last year or the year before you got to go overseas?
Oh, that's actually coming up next month.
What's that? I haven't sort of had the chance to speak to you personally about that.
So it's a professional development opportunity through the Australia Council for the Arts to go and work at the Venice Biennale. So it's the support team that works at the Australian Pavilion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, great. Okay. So the business of beauty. Let's talk about that now. What I want to sort of do with this is that you've set up your property. Maybe share with the viewers, listeners,
Yeah.
the consumers. Tell us a bit about your property.
So I bought it about 2 years ago, and just think of it as essentially as like the worst house on the street. Like it was totally falling down. Like there was sticky tape holding the walls together, and yeah, it needed a lot of work. It's on the main street in a small country town. It's zoned residential commercial. And there's the house, and there used to be a shop front that's no longer there, but there's potential to rebuild that. And also it's a large block, so can build out the back as well. And so, yeah, I've spent the last year and a half renovating the property to get it to where it is now, and had it reevaluated as well. And so I've made a bit of money on the renovation, which is really good. And,
Right.
Yeah, and now setting it up about a month ago, set it up as an Airbnb. And so that's just sort of starting to take off now.
And I know you were nervous when you first sort of put it out to the market. And I know just from a conversation we had before we started the show that you've been more than happy with what's happened since you've taken it to the market.
Yeah, I guess it's that thing of like whatever you put out into the world, you just want it to be received well. Like sort of, you're revealing a part of yourself, I guess. So
yes.
That fear of rejection and everything. But yeah, just being totally overwhelmed with really lovely words and support, and friends sharing, just even that sort of social media side of just so many people sharing it amongst their networks, and really getting behind me, which has been incredible.
And if you don't mind me asking, sort of what kind of booking rates do you have at the moment? 60%, 50%, 70%? What is it?
Probably about 50%. Yeah.
Right. Great. And how long has it been on the market, and you're at 50%? A month, month and a half?
6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good. And what's really exciting about that for me is that if you're doing that within a month and a half, imagine what you're going to be doing in a year.
Yeah, and I think that's the part. It's so, I guess it's unpredictable, and I am really curious to see where it sits in a year's time in terms of that occupancy rate.
If I can share something with you, as I said before, I was a bit, no, do I really want to do this with Zoe? And then I go, I'll see what I can do strategically. I actually do have a little bit of experience with this, not through me, but my wife and I have done a lot of this type of thing up around the Northern Rivers. And what will happen with your property, and we're going to make sure that happens because that's going to be a bit of focus of our talk today, is you'll end up with a lot of referral clients. So it will build over time, and many of your clients will come through word of mouth.
Yeah. And I really hope that, and all the reviews that I've had so far and private messages have all been very much like very much that they want to return. So.
Yeah. Well, again, in your response, then you're not sure, and
it's like I'll believe it when it happens.
I'll believe when it happens. It's not good enough. So the part of you that you're inner critic, your critical part, doesn't realise the specialness of what you've created.
Yeah, totally.
And so, do you mind if I share the Instagram account?
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you.
Right. So, if you're interested in, I think it's important for what I'm about to talk about, actually. Go to, if you're an Instagram person, it's the Bootmaker's House. I'll say that again. It is the Bootmaker's House. And when you get to the Bootmaker's House on Instagram, and in a second, Zoe, I'll ask you where they can find out other information about this property. But when you get to the Bootmaker's House on Instagram, you'll see a couple of really important things that we're going to dig into today. The place is beautiful, and it has a certain style of, it's that sort of really amazing leather goods, beautiful sofas. How would you describe it? You're probably better with the description for this. What would you call it?
I guess it's sort of all the colour schemes have come from the environment around. So sort of mustard linens. There's a lot of wattle down here and the wildflowers. and the forest. It's the town's on the Blackwood River, so sort of the black kitchen and lots of wood because we're in the forest. So it's sort of just taking all the hints from nature and bringing them into the house, but to make it feel, you want that place of retreat and somewhere that's
right. No, you've really done that well. Now, everyone listening, I'm going to go sideways now. Everyone listening could hear the tone of your voice then when you talked about the natural beauty around you and how the property reflected that. And it is, if you can't see it, or actually, before I get into this, is there any other ways that if people aren't on Instagram?
You can have a look on Airbnb.
Under the bootmaker's house.
The bootmaker's house, yeah. You can search for it there, and a website is coming soon.
Great, okay. Because the place, when you see the property, you kind of understand who will want to go there. It's got that real sense of natural beauty, of peace. It's got a retreat sort of feeling about it. I said the word rustic before, but that's not the right word because it's also really modern and
I feel like I guess I wanted to evoke that feeling of being in a place of history and heritage. The town's known for its sort of historical buildings, so it's sort of trying to retain that, but bring it, I guess, into a modern type of setting.
Great. Now, we're going to be talking about the story because the place does represent a story. Before we go there, I want to go back to what I wanted to touch base on. When you started to communicate about nature, the colours, the wattle, I can really feel you, and that's a part of you. So that's the part of you that's totally tapped into, and of course, this informs your art. So it's a part of you that. We'll have a look at this. How important is beauty to you, Zoe?
Very important.
Yeah. We're going to dig into this for a bit. Yeah. Why is beauty so important to you, Zoe?
I think it makes me feel really good. I think when I'm in an environment that I'm inspired by, like I feel calmer, I have a lot more clarity, and I don't know, I guess I get really depressed looking at ugly buildings, or just like, I don't know, when things don't flow or they don't feel good. I find it a really jarring way to live.
That's what I was going to ask you about the city. So I was going to ask you that because I knew that someone with your aesthetics would not enjoy it. So it's got to be a natural environment for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I love the city and I love the energy that it brings, but I need the respite of nature. When I have lived in city spaces, I've always been very close to nature, like it's been on the beach or it's, been near a park, or it has to be, some connection to nature.
Great. We're going to stay with this. This is going to be actually important for where you go with this business. So in that, I imagine that even if you were living in the city and you weren't living in a place that, that was perfect for you, you would fit your place out with all sorts of things that helped you feel that beauty, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd probably be filled with plants and flowers. And
this is it. So where I'm going with this, listeners and viewers, is that we're all very, very different as individuals. And if we want to be fulfilled, it's really important that we know what fulfills us. Now, we actually take this a little bit further. If we know what fulfills us and we get about activating and taking action on what fulfills us, the next experience that we have is one of mission and purpose. I'll say that again. If we can identify and access what it is that fulfills us, and then we activate or take action on that, then we feel mission or purpose. So as an example, it's very natural for me to be doing what I'm doing right now. I have a deep interest in Zoe and what she's doing because I have a deep fascination with human beings, human consciousness, human behavior, and that's just in me. It was in me since I was a kid. So to do something like this I'm just in my joy zone. For Zoe, you heard that she was an artist from a young age. It was just natural to her, and it's just natural for her to want to create beauty or make any environment she is in beautiful. And when she does that, she feels like she is in her place. She is in the right place for her. And in that, she's contributing by doing that. And I just want to, does that make sense to you what I've just said, Zoe?
Yeah. I'm interested more in what you're saying about like I'm contributing when I'm in.
Well, that's where I wanted to go. That's why I just wanted to make sure, and then we're going to go into contributing. Now, I know, and just for the listener and viewer, I've done quite a bit of work. Zoe's been around our work for a long period of time. I actually might just ask her in a little while what she got from our work and how she enjoyed our work and how the work helped her, because our work is profound. When we work with clients, my God, do they get breakthroughs and shifts and changes. But before we get into that, let me continue with that. So, you know, I know when you were younger and you were doing your art, that somehow it felt meaningless to you sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just why?
I think it's something I'm still trying to work out, but sometimes I can feel, I think I've got a practical side to myself as well. And sometimes it didn't feel very practical. And and I didn't see how I was contributing.
Great. So before the show, you know, we had a quick chat before we started, and you were sort of saying, because of, you know, I was doing some of my do work and could see that you were changed and grounding out, and you said that you really felt in your place with this property now, because you feel like you're creating something beautiful, but it's got a practical ramification. Is that correct? Is that what you? Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's also why I've been drawn to pottery, because there's a practical element to it as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay, this is great. We can probably start to move now. So this contribution, and you probably, I'm going to say it rather than work with you around it. I just think that it's, I'll say it, and then you tell me how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You see, your purpose is to enable people to experience the rejuvenation, and we're going to get into this a little bit more. You'll see where we're going to go with this. This is going to get very practical from a marketing perspective soon, but we can't get practical around from a marketing perspective until we dig into what we're about to dig into.
Yeah.
So your role, your purpose is to help people experience what it's like to be in those beautiful environments and have that beautiful experience, right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I've really connected that with, this house has made me see how I was trying to do that with art, or when I've been in a facilitation role and putting shows together for other people. It's about creating a space where people feel something and connect with themselves.
Correct. So what we're going to do now, so just wear this for a second. So what would it be like for you? How would you feel if you had all these people coming to your property and experiencing the benefits of the beauty and the relaxation and the joy, and then going back to their normal lives touched by that? How does that feel as for you to be doing that? That is a big aspect of it.
So good. I could feel my heart just sort of go to swell a little bit. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I'm going to just do something else with that, and you may or may not have thought about this. What do you think the beauty is giving the end user? So when they come and stay to you, say with you, what is it giving them?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Can I add some? Can I give you some input here about what?
Yeah, that would be very good. Thank you.
Okay. So you live in that environment all the time, and it's who you are, right? But if you've been in Perth or you're in Sydney and you're working hard in a corporate office, or you're a business person out there in Warrior, when you when we come to your property, we first of all feel special. So when we're around beauty, we feel special.
Mm.
So as an example, if you go down to, if I go down to the local servo and buy a pie,
yeah,
might enjoy the pie.
yeah.
But if I go to a 5-star, I'm just thinking about when I was in Waiheke. Have you ever been to Waiheke Island in New Zealand? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't been there.
Oh, so anyway, I go to this 5-star winery.
Yeah.
We're a Spanish winery, actually. Funny, in New Zealand, Spanish winery. And, you know, I'm eating the best food, like just the best food.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful wine. And I'm there with my friends. You feel special. And that is what happens from a psychological perspective when we have those treat-like experiences. Okay, can you see that? So you feel special, right? The other thing that happens is you get back in touch with nature.
Mm.
Now, when you get back in touch with nature, something happens. Your mind starts to slow down. You feel the connection with nature. And while you feel that connection with nature, what tends to happen is you start to reprioritize how you live your life.
Yeah.
Okay. You think about how you live your life. You think about what you need to change. If you're there with your partner, that natural environment, that beauty lends to a beautiful shared experience and a sense of romance, a sense of compassion, a sense of kindness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so can you see that everything I've said is true?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
like connection back to self
the connection back to self and the time to reorientate. A time away from our busy lives. So our stress decreases. We start to feel healthier. If someone stays there for a week, they suddenly start to feel 10 times healthier.
Yeah, and I find that even I do, like coming down, I sort of block, I'm here at the moment and I've just blocked a week out and I'm eating better, I'm sleeping better and just able to have more clarity around the direction of my life. Yeah.
Great. Now, can you see that is what your property is giving people? It's healing them in some way, reconnecting them. Now, there's another thing, because again, you'll diminish yourself. So that parts of you that have so low self-worth won't allow you to see what you're giving people.
Yeah.
Right? You always got to remember that. So I'm telling you what you're giving people. Your low self-worth part will project, well, you're not giving them that. Well, you are giving them that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can see that part of me believes it, but I'm like, oh, but it could be better. And I've got a list of all these things that would make it better. So, and it's like, oh, until I do that, I won't be quite there.
Right. So on a patterning level, everybody that's listening or watching this is Zoe's low self-worth part is constantly saying, well, I'll show you how it works. I don't need to show you this, Zoe, you know this. This part looks at Zoe and it's going, well, you're still not good enough. You're not good enough yet. And you still need to improve this about you. And you need to be better at this. And that same thing that talks to Zoe like that looks out into everything that Zoe does and still goes, you see, well, that's not good enough yet. That's still not perfect enough yet. That's still not right. Now, let's go to the Instagram account and everyone can see it's more than perfect as it is, and it gives everybody those things that I've just said just as it is without her doing one other thing. Right?
And it's interesting, like I've had to remind myself of that. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, I've got bookings until early Jan. Like, it's all right. Like, it's working. Other people aren't picking up on that.
Correct. Now, again, by the way, everybody listening and watching, from a functional perspective, it's really good. That's what we might call the inner critic, the low self-worth of the inner critic. It's good to have that because it keeps us on our game. It keeps us improving things, where what we're probably talking about here is more of a dysfunctional. No, it's actually functional for Zoe. I can see that, but will tend towards the dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So, because what this part does is, and this would have impacted your art for years, which is, well, that's still not good enough yet, Zoe. Right? That's still not good enough. That's still not good enough. That's still not good enough. And so when that happens, you withdraw and you won't show it. You won't give it to the public. And case in point, and this is probably why Zoe can do what she does. She's been trained by us, so she can at least see that. I'd go use some of the reprogramming audios too, Zoe. That Zoe has access people that are listening because she's has worked closely with us in our high-level program. But I'd go use some of the reprogramming audios around perfectionism.
Okay.
Just flick me through an email later, or Georgina an email, and she'll we'll put you in the right direction for that reprogramming audio. Because you can see if that gets tweaked a little bit, it will move from being dysfunctional, which drives you, I can't let anyone see this yet, to, I can let people see this yet, but I'm going to improve it and make it even better. See the difference in orientation? So, you'll want to start reprogramming a little bit more around that.
Yeah, I can see that it's like, from I think when I first started working with you, where I wouldn't even show any of my artwork. I was like hid it under my bed, to now I'm a lot better. But I can definitely see it's a work on for
it is. Well, and the other thing is you are a bit disidentified from these things, so you can see that this part's doing it, so it doesn't control you. Most people aren't disidentified because they haven't been trained, and they're identified, and as you know, these things are controlling them. They're just not controlling you the same. Okay.
Yep.
So this thing of the beauty, it's really important to get that. That's what you give people. That's what you're here to give. And whether you realize it or not, this is probably the most beautiful gift you can give someone. Like I'm looking outside of my house right now as we talk, and I'm just looking at the most beautiful trees. I'm given the gift of this beauty every day. I really understand what it does for me, and I have so much gratitude and gratefulness for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a purveyor of beauty. You're a purveyor of exceptional experiences of beauty, and we're going to just really dig into this. And you can probably feel that is true for you, right? Can you see that?
Yeah, totally.
Right. Now, great. Now, this is where I want to go with this, because I want to dig into the value structures of your target market. Now, the reason we're doing this, you can hear my tone. See, I'm now moving from, I was right with you around the beauty. Now I'm going back into business. So another sub-personality is kicking in. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Too. And so that, when we know the value structures of your target market, and fortunately I'm your target market, so this is going to be real easy. We then know what we need to concentrate on as marketers, and we know what we need to give our clients, which is also still marketing, but service providing as well, providing the service or providing the product. And then we can also look for second or third streams of income. Yeah. So, there's lots of different sorts of people will come to your property, but there is a certain target market that you could really, really aim into and build your entire client base from, and they'll just keep referring and referring and referring.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to go into that now. So first of all, the younger term of this, if you're a younger person, is you belong to what now called sort of like the hipster. And we'll clarify that, because sometimes people have a negative connotation around hipster, but we want to have a look at that. The older generation, and I fall into this, we had what would be considered, it's an old-fashioned word, but bohemian leanings.
Yeah.
We've always been a little bit left of centre. We're left of centre people, okay? And so we're going to go into the values. So the values for the hipster, the bohemian marketplace, the older marketplace, is lifestyle is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Having a good lifestyle. Now, what is a good lifestyle? It is being connected to nature, being around beauty, the finer things in life. And you can help me here, Zoe. Does that make sense to you? You're part of that. You are.
Yeah. Good food, good wine, having time with
Having
friends,
time.
family. Yeah.
A health orientation.
Yeah.
So you know, it's likely that anyone from your target market, this target market that we're talking about, they've drunk chai in their life.
Yeah.
They've if they don't eat organic food themselves, someone in their family does, and their friends do.
Yes. Yeah. And quite generally active and doers.
Outdoors people, physical people. They tend to be liberal from a political perspective.
Yeah. And enjoy like handmade things.
Yeah, well, this is where the young hipster market's gone.
Yeah.
Bespoke.
Yeah.
Nothing's. Yeah, but it's. I mean, I laugh. I've always listened to the fringes of country music, right? And which is a bit weird growing up. It's not weird growing up in New Zealand. That's what I grew up with. And then, of course, I'm a surfer, and no one in the surf community listened to the fringes of country music until about 10 years ago, and all of a sudden. All of a sudden, everywhere I go, I'm listening to bands that I've listened to for years, and now all the young people love it. And they've got a denim shirt on and a felt hat, and so there's that sort of bespoke, cool. How else would you communicate?
I think everything that you've said, but it's that bonding over like the finer details and
correct.
Yeah.
Now, they also have a penchant for the finer things in life, in the sense of they're drinking red wine and they're knowing what a good red wine.
And I think probably also happy to spend money on those types of things.
That's right. Okay, so that they enjoy the sensations of the palate.
Yeah, it's a very sensory way to live.
Yeah, very sensory, and this is really important that we identify this. It's a sensory way to live, and it's a sensory way to live. Now, this is really interesting because I work with archetypes all the time. I'm just getting some really good information here, because in that sensory way of live, this is all about beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, by the way, I didn't say this before. I just know this so well. I've forgotten the last one. So beauty, truth, and there's a third one to it. So there are states of mind or states of consciousness associated with a love, compassion, and beauty and truth are part of that. So you can never minimize what beauty does to people, because beauty lifts people into a higher plane of feeling, of thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it's really interesting that you just say that. Yesterday, I had a couple of friends here and we were doing a photo shoot of the house, but we were doing it with like installations of flowers, and it just was filled with so much love for my friends, of just how appreciative I was of them.
Of course.
Yeah, we were creating beauty together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beauty, truth, and goodness. It's like there's something in the human spirit that gets lifted to a higher place. It's like it's like what we are looking for. It's like what we want. It's like the difference between having some animal-style sex versus sensual lovemaking. Yeah. Sensual lovemaking, when you have sensual lovemaking, if you actually look at what that does to you on a deep level, is sensual lovemaking bonds. Sensual lovemaking lifts you, and it's based on appreciation for the other person. It has deep respect to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So you can see truth, beauty, and goodness are philosophical principles that lift people above animal states or more of their animal nature. So some philosophers consider it part of an evolutionary calling. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can see it lifts people's spirits to be better.
And I think that's actually why I feel really good with the house and creating that beauty in that space, because I haven't been able to articulate it in that way, but I do sense that giving that to somebody is like a really loving thing to do. And I think in the past I've struggled with the idea of selling something because it hasn't connected with that truth for me.
Well, that's why I'm really wanting today to ground that out for you. You need to understand that that's your mission and what a gift that is. I mean, I think about my wife, and she paints and just watch how she build the house out. That feminine beauty is filling me. And if I've got a hard day, if I have a hard day, I don't have too many hard days. But and I'm going to tell you, actually, I want to be really clear for the listeners here and the viewers. I don't have a hard day. My days are probably just as hard, maybe harder than other people, but it's how your mind perceives it. And I'm a meditator. I work to stay in neutral, central position, so my mind's not reactive so much to what's happening around me. That's why I don't tend to have hard days. It's not that my day's any easier than anyone else's. Okay. Okay, we got that. So let's look at that. So we know that's the target market, young or old. I'm part of that. I'm going to come down. If I come down and stay at your place, I've already told you I want to do that. I want to come there, and I'm going to want to know about where I'm going to get the best red wine. I'm going to know where can I get this, and where's the nice cheeses and all those types of things. Okay, right. Now, so I know that your property is going to get referrals just based on what it is now, because people are going to come and have a really good experience there. But let's look for second and third streams of income. Yeah. So I think you said before that, in your opinion, the food in the area is not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
So, would you consider Margaret River, by the way, would you consider that's got really good food?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so Margaret was about 45 minutes from where I am.
Great. So how can you develop a second stream of income, and this is the next thing that I wanted to do, because this will outposition all your competitors. Second stream of income from food or wine, or you are able to provide food or wine or food experiences that, maybe you're not making a lot of money from, but what they do is build the word of mouth of your target market. Now, I'm going to, before you answer.
Yeah.
So my wife, more than me, falls perfectly into your target market. Actually, no, I do, but you'll see where I'm going to go with this. If Anne-Marie came down and stayed in your property and had an average food experience because she couldn't get the quality of food that she wants, she would still say lovely things about your place, but she would be less inclined to come back because she can't get the food experience that she wants.
Yeah.
Okay. If she came down and she got the food experience she wanted, because I already know from knowing you and the property that she's going to love that, she'll go back and she is your raving fan and she's telling everybody about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And birds of a feather flock together. So a lot of our friends are foodies and fit for that as well. Make sense?
Yes. And I think that's been the one area that I had hesitations with setting it up as an Airbnb, because I think the town is developing, but there's still a few holes, and attracting the right type of people.
So if you could you, like, is there any way? Now, obviously, when you start to set up and you're dealing with food, there's far greater levels of capital required, and food's not a fun thing to be in. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
However, you don't even have to answer this yet. I don't care if we eat, once we're finished, you're sort of thinking about these things and
yeah.
right? I just want to set this up so you've got where I'm going with that. Now, here's what I would potentially look at. Because food is a hassly business to be in. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've worked in hospitality for a long time as well, amongst many other jobs, and yeah.
Okay, so
business.
Yeah, just look at what you can do from the perspective of sponsors. Right now, what do I mean by that? Wine companies are providing you with wine from their cellars.
Yeah, we actually did with the photo shoot yesterday. We had a few bottles of wine, and we were very strategically placing them in our photos to then talk to those winemakers about getting wine for the house.
Great, yeah, good. So you're already on it. Cheeses,
yeah.
It's not like they have to have every meal there, but if they've got all those things that they can have, and it's the access, so I would look at that. I would look at espresso machines.
Yeah.
If you're able to do that, or a decent coffee machines, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Now, let's go somewhere else with this, because you're an artist, and we did talk about this before. How can you create a second, third stream of income from your artwork?
Yeah, I had thought about in the past, before I set this up, of setting it up as more of a gallery type space where you could buy the artwork that's within the house, and I sort of decided against that. I think it just requires a lot, but potentially if I have the website set up, I could put my pottery or things like that up there, so have some of the pottery in the house, and then be able to market to the people staying here that you can buy this from the online shop.
What I totally agree with that as an approach. I'm also seeing the potential for something else here. So
okay.
There's a couple of different art communities, isn't there? There's the struggling, younger, poorer artists, and then there's a wealthier art community.
Yeah.
So where I live in the Northern Beaches, in Avalon, there's all these ladies in this area who are well-to-do, and they're always off doing pottery classes and art classes.
Yeah.
Now, is your closest city Perth, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 3 hours from here.
As a target market, can you see that there are a lot of wealthy, liberal, bohemian types who have a tendency towards dabbling in art?
Yeah, definitely. There was just another lady in town just had a workshops over the weekend. She has a gallery in town, and they're always sold out.
Yeah, well, there we go. So this would also help you bypass Airbnb. Right. A direct marketing campaign, or a direct presence, or a direct access to the networks of that wealthier, liberal, bohemian artist who also likes fine food and wine, it all goes together.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things that you could do there. Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
And also, and again, this will come back to say maybe some of your patterns, but some of those people would be willing to pay you good money for tuition.
Yeah.
Improve their techniques.
Yeah. I can see there's a big block around that part.
That's what I said to you. So actually, we'll just name the block. So, because I can feel that. So I'll just show you something. So from the strategic part of you, can you see that possibly that is a good way of getting some extra income?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. okay, I'll take what I'm going to do here right now is something else. So I want you to imagine the best artist you know.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll just play this out and see how this works. And you've got nothing to do with teaching the art, but when people come, will there be people that will pay her to teach them?
Yes.
Help? Yeah, okay. So now it's not probably, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, and I think it's interesting, and I've kind of noticed it within myself since setting this up. I think I'm quite good at bringing the right people together to do things.
Okay, but it could be you. Just remember that.
Yeah.
The block is about you feeling like you're not good enough to do that, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a straight question, and you may or may not be able to answer it, depending on whether your pattern tries to answer it or whether you can be truthful. Are you capable of, within certain disciplines, helping a beginner or middling artist improve technique?
Yes.
Thank you. Thought so. Okay. So that's the truth. The pattern will say you're not ready or you're not capable, blah, 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 blah. But that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
So, by the way, at any point in time, how many people can stay there?
4.
4.
Yeah, I've got 2 bedrooms.
Okay, great. So you can see the potential for that then.
Yeah.
Because if you're marking into there, and let's just say all 4 could do a half-day, 2 half-day workshops with you as an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get the kind of fees you could charge for that, by the way.
Yeah. Like, I think I just think about a lot of artists we work with. It's at least $50 an hour. If you're doing a workshop, probably be more. So
I'd be doing more. I'd also be. I'd also look.
But I think per person. So yeah, you could be $200 an hour or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's the added aspect to that. Now, I'm trying to be real strategic here for a second because I'm trying to look outside the box. In your local area, are there things that you would refer people to?
Oh, sorry, I just lost you for a second.
It's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
In your local area, are there things that you can refer people to things to do?
Yeah. I think that's definitely the area that I've been looking at. I think, because I'm not always, I'm sort of in between a lot at the moment, so I'm not necessarily down here. I'm looking at, what's around that I can tap into.
Okay, so here's what I would suggest that you would do as well with that, because if you can earn passive income, it's the best income, which is why the workshop still requires you to use your time, okay? And again, so I think that is a second form of income that you should inspect. You may go, well, it's not worth doing because it takes me away from doing this that makes me more money. But those are things that you could be thinking about. But talking to, say, some of the local tourism providers, and what you do is you strike up a deal with them. Yeah. And the deal is that, look, if I send clients through to you, I get 20% or 10% or 15% of the booking fee.
Yeah.
And that is a way of building out some passive income from that. And how do you feel about taking that approach, by the way? Because some people have blocks to that.
No, I feel really good. Because I actually think I think there's a block in the town around that about promotion not being that good, and I think I could probably do it better. So,
okay, great. All right, well, we've got a few things there. Is there any other questions that you have before we finish up?
No, I think that's it's been really good. It's just been good to ground out sort of where my head's been with it all. So
I'm just going to finish off, and this is not so much for you, but for anyone listening and watching this. So if you could sort of see what we did today, it is, first of all, a couple of things. You can see that Zoe is really connected to her purpose in this role, and and she probably wasn't fully owning what she's actually bringing people through that beauty. But I think you've probably got that from today, and you can probably work on that more. And that puts you into purpose and mission, and allows you to bring your gifts. And your gifts are your ability to create beauty for people to experience. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Then the second thing is how we went and sort of mapped out the values of the target market. Now, once you map out the values of the target market, it's really then easy to start looking at second and third or fourth income models, because you know what that target market wants. You know what that target market enjoys. And therefore you can usually get a very good service or product to market mix once you've elicited the values of your target market. I just want to say, Zoe, on a personal level, I'm just amazed at what you're doing, and I'm amazed at what you've done and what you've achieved. I mean, I've known you, I haven't talked to you personally, I don't know, for about 1.5 years, but
yeah,
you know, you've been around our work and I know you well, and I just think you're doing fantastic. You're really coming into your purpose and grounding out and contributing and moving and taking action in the world. Just amazing.
Thank you, Perry.
Yeah.
And I have a lot to thank you for that and all the work that your team does. And it's really given me the tools to be able to own that and I guess sort of create a pathway for myself.
Yeah, out of interest, what in the work that you've done with us, how has it helped you? What would you consider the major benefits of doing the work, the inner work? And we're talking about the inner work here, people watching this.
Yeah.
How we start to understand ourselves and start to transform ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's really taking ownership of what I want, and perhaps in the past I've been really afraid of that, or not deserving, or feeling like it's a selfish kind of act, but actually seeing how much more beneficial I am to the people around me and to myself when I am in alignment with what I'm meant to be doing. And I think that the work that you teach has really given me the tools to be able to just notice my patterns and notice the blocks.
Hey, we had some technical difficulties at the end of my interview with Zoe, but I hope you got a lot from it. I certainly enjoyed working with her. And she emailed me after the interview with some pretty interesting synchronicity. She had been approached by a local person who is an artist, asking her, can you please put my art in your Airbnb, your accommodation, and I will share a percentage of any sales with you. So that's really good synchronicity, because that was one of the passive income strategies I suggested that Zoe approached. Anyway, if you like the show, make sure you subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you want to know what your entrepreneurial strengths, gifts and weaknesses are, go to my website, perrymardon.com, and you'll see under the intro video a link to an assessment. It'll take you about 5 minutes to do, and it will tell you exactly what your money-making gifts are, what your entrepreneurial gifts are, and what your weaknesses are that you must delegate to other people. Anyway, I'm up here in the Central Coast on a bush retreat, very, very beautiful as you can see. And I'm here for the weekend and looking forward to that. Finally, if you want to, first of all, identify and then overcome unconscious belief systems, and this unconscious means you don't know about them yet, go and check out my Whole Brain Wealth course. It's on special at the moment. A bit of a brain fog here, but it's something like 3 payments of $28. It's on special for about another week. Then the price is going up way more than that. But go and check it out. It is an amazing program that will help you identify and then transform the beliefs that sit on the unconscious level that drive sabotaging behaviors or limiting behaviors as a business owner or investor. It is a pretty amazing program, and at that price you're mad not to do it. And also, if you want to be on the show, certainly go to my website. You'll see the link for the show. Come and join me. If you don't want to be public with who you are, it's really easy for me to use a pseudonym because you're not on camera, and I will go in and find out how I can help you shift your profit, help you see some of the blocks that will be controlling you without your full awareness at this point. Anyway, check it out and see you at the next show. Catch ya.